Oh, here it comes.
Oh, there she blows.
Yeah, we just bought that van.
I'm Mindy, and this is Joe. Together we travel America in our self-converted van we lovingly call the Pig. We are exploring everything America has to offer and are bringing you along every week. To join us on our journey, hit that like and subscribe button.
Mindy and I decided we were going to get another van the other day, and one might think we would get something maybe a little newer, maybe a little nicer.
We're on our way to check out another van.
There it is.
Oh, there it is. All right, we're gonna go look at a second van. First van was a bust, didn't work out. Maybe this one?
We're going to go look at a 1973 Ford Econoline. Now, that's old, but this thing looks cool, so we're going to go see what's up. But then we just kind of ran across this thing and had to go look at it. Immediately fell in love with it, and then 4 days later got it dropped off at to where we're currently staying, so we can get it fixed up and running and drive it to Florida from Maine in 6 weeks. That's the plan. Let me show you what we're working with. It's a 1973 Ford Econoline E-300. This one's a little bit different though. It's slightly extended and it came with the 302 package and a 3-speed manual. Fun part about the manual, it's actually 3 on the tree. You still shift just like a normal manual, only you do it by the steering wheel. It's pretty cool. We saw this vehicle. It's got good bones, like the frame's straight. The motor does run. We've got a few leaks we got to fix up before we can drive it on the road safely, like, you know, and get tires and things. But we loved it so much, we just went back and forth for about 3 days and just finally said, you know what, let's pull the trigger and we're gonna build this van out. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna trade out our 2014 Ram ProMaster for a 1973 Ford.
Are we crazy?
If you're gonna look forward to seeing this build, which I hope you are, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe. All right guys, day 1 of starting the van build. So first thing we got to do before we get this thing roadworthy is to fix a few leaks. So I have a leak. And Mindy's gonna go do some detailing work, which she'll talk about now.
While Joe is busy chasing down some leaks, I'm gonna clean and detail the engine. I watched a YouTube video on it, so now I'm an expert. So here we go.
Alright guys, first update. I found the source of the leaks at the hose that connects right into the fuel tank. I just touched it with my fingers and turned it loose, and that was the hose clamp. I'm guessing that's the leak. Found out that the brake line in front, so it goes down from the master cylinder down here in the engine bay, and then before it splits into everything, the metal line that goes in there is actually ruptured. So we might just order all new lines and just go ahead and put new lines in all the way. This is a 1973, so we are willing to spend a little bit more money on restoring it. But I decided to go ahead and take off the front grille. So check out what we're working with. Fun fact, nothing is metric. It was all standard. That was kind of cool. I got to create right here. I got to do a new battery box. So I got my sheet metal, go ahead, shape that up. Once it's shaped in place, I'm gonna drill my holes, get it all prepped, paint it up, and then I'll rivet the thing in place. So this way we have a new battery box, and I even got some battery tie downs for it because it didn't even have them. And Mindy's got her own little project over here.
I've just been over here cleaning up these pieces. They're a little dirty.
Getting better.
Getting better.
This is where your air filter goes in. So this sits on top of the carburetor. And all that does is the air comes in, filter cleans it, and then that clean air goes into your carburetor and makes its way into the engine. So what we're gonna do though is she's gonna go ahead and wire wheel those down, and we got some nice new blue automotive paint, really make that engine stand out. We're gonna do the same thing later to the valve covers. It's gonna look really good. All right guys, finally got them in, check it out. That's the new battery cables. Just to give you an idea, that's what happened to our battery terminal connection right there. So this was one thing, the van did run and the electrical worked, but this is just really, really unsafe. And this was our negative coming off the battery. And for about 25 bucks, I replaced both of those. And now I'm gonna fix a battery tray up in there. And this way, our battery will be tied down, we'll have new connections. And then once we get this thing fired back up again, everything should work even better than it did before. So, that's a new update.
Good morning. What are you doing in here?
Morning. Well, I decided to pull the valve covers off because we had a bit of a leak. And I can see why. This is what remains of the gasket that was in there. I didn't even try to take it off. It just literally fell off. So we're going to go ahead and replace it with my new Felpro rubber gaskets. These are the valve covers. This is what we're taking off, and before we put them on, we're going to go ahead and clean these up and then go ahead and spritz them with a nice new blue color, so this way everything kind of looks as it should be. But that's the project for today. And then Mindy's outside working on the battery box.
Yep, so right now I'm out here working on our new battery box. Joe fabricated this new tray for it. I'm just taking off the rust. We're gonna give it a spritz of paint in the back, kind of stop any more rust from happening and seal it up pretty nicely. Today we're getting some things done early this morning. We stopped over at the Maine BMV to get a title for the new van. In Maine, it's a no title state for vehicles before, I think it was like 95. They're a no title state, whereas Florida is a title state. So we need to get a title so then we could transfer that title to Florida. So we got here super early before they even opened, and this is the line already. There's Joe all the way at the very back. So apparently we didn't get here early enough. Yeah, hopefully it goes smooth and relatively quickly. I'm going to whip up some breakfast because I'm starving, and I'm sure I can finish it before they even open, and maybe I'll bring Joe a breakfast sandwich. Fingers crossed that this goes smoothly.
All right, guys, time for a van update. So, we've been crazy busy, and then your feedback on our poll was show the blood, sweat, and tears. There's been lots of blood, mostly hands getting cut and nicked up. No tears other than a little bit of anger tears, maybe.
I had tears.
Mindy had a little tears from a project, but most of it's really hard to film. It's inside this big tent, so it's kind of hard to do all that. But here's what we got done so far. We pulled out the grill, decided to go ahead and paint that with the same undercoat that's going underneath. Then we did this battery box right here. There was no battery box. It was a couple thin sheets of metal that were just laying there. So I went ahead and just cut that out of sheet metal, riveted in place, painted that. We've painted a lot of the inside here, stopping a lot of rust that's going on.
Flushed the radiator.
Yeah, we have flushed the radiator. And luckily before we got it, the guy who sold it to us, him and his dad own an auto body shop and they do car repairs, and they went ahead and changed out the distributor cap Got new points on there, new spark plugs and oil change, which is excellent. That's it for up there. Then moving our way in, we pulled out the doghouse right here, painted that gray. The doghouse goes over, hold on one sec. The doghouse goes over the engine, which as you see, we got that all painted up. So I put in new valve cover gaskets because we were leaking. That oil was leaking onto the header and that was smoking us out incredibly bad. But now we've cleaned that. Mindy went through and painstakingly cleaned the entire motor. So you see the top there, that's a good looking motor. We get in here. After doing all that, we decided the dash needed a facelift. We painted the dash, we got all the little dials and everything cleaned up. Mindy vinyled this. That was this really ugly brown gray, and she turned it into that. Then we pulled the heater out. Well, Mindy pulled the heater out, and in this van, that's connected through the radiator system. So that actually has a heat sink in it, so to speak. It's just a copper tube with fins on it that the liquid from your radiator and all that goes through, and then it has a fan. So that's how you get your heat, which is kind of cool. But she went through, cleaned that. It smells so much better in here. This van smelled horrendous when we got it. Like animals, fuel, probably some bodily fluids were mixed in this thing at some point. It was disgusting. But now it's starting to smell better and better, which is great. Oh, she also did these. These visors were literally falling apart and made out of cardboard. So she wrapped them in vinyl and we put this little rubber trim over it. And they look way better now. So that's awesome. So we got that done. You saw the brown on the floor. That's primer. That primer is Rust-Oleum and it's just the rust reformer. Like you can put it straight over rust. And it worked good. We're going to end up putting sound deadening material on the entire van because it's old and really loud. Like everything's steel. So this thing rattles and we want to mitigate that and make it a little bit nicer. That's about it for the inside. The other mechanical things that have happened. I replaced all the fuel lines and brake lines. I replaced 90% of those as well, which I'll crawl under and show you what's been going on. I also I've gotten all of the undercoating done. I just finished that today. And that has been an adventure, but check this out. All right, little dark under here. But I'll show you what we've got going on. So I've undercoated everything and I've got new brake lines and all that. I'm just gonna kind of show you what I've been working with down here. All that's fresh undercoat. I've went through 2 Tyvek suits, several filters on the respirator because it was 50 years of crap getting knocked off underneath. But now we are rust prevented underneath. I've gotten all the loose rust out. But it's turning out pretty good. This is essentially this right here, this height. This is what I've been doing for about 2 weeks. Is just being on my back underneath here while Mindy's been doing all the extremely tedious cleaning and smell good stuff that we've needed to have done, which is fantastic. That's pretty much it, what we've done so far. I know I just said that's pretty much it, and that's a massive list of things. And today we're going to go pick up brake pads because I've got the drums on the front to do and the rear to do. We're going to replace all the pads and check that our brake drum setup is good. So I'll show you that real quick. So up in here, we have got, that's the inside of our brake drum. What we're doing in there is just cleaning and refitting and verifying that the piston's good. There's no leaking or anything too bad from it. So we're just going to roll with it for now. There isn't any bad scoring. The grease is good. So we're just going to go with pads. This is the biggest thing you want to check on a lot of these older vehicles is you should verify that the brakes are actually good to go and all the parts are there. Because you have no idea what people have done over the 50-year lifespan of a vehicle like this. We have about 4 weeks left until we have to drive this thing to Florida, which is about a 20-hour drive. It's like 1,400-ish miles from where we're at. And we're going to be driving it back to Jacksonville. Well, I'm going to be driving back to Jacksonville. Mindy's going to be driving the other van. So this should be really fun. We're really excited to put this all together and really get it on the road.
All right, guys, this will be the first time that Hank moves on his own. Maybe.
Maybe. Been sitting. Hello. But this is the first time Hank is fired up and moved on its own. The only thing we knew is that the motor ran good, and I needed to replace all the fuel lines, brake lines, everything. And we have all new, pretty much all of it. So now we're gonna kind of go real slow because these are the tires that it was sitting on. We have new tires and rims on order, but for now I'd say so far this is a bit of a success. It needed a little bit of a love tap to get going, but we're going. Alright, I want to move this hoopty a little bit.
That's it. Hank's moving on his own power. It's kind of crazy, but it's moving.